Hello everybody and welcome to Uprising 144K. I'm Hydrogen Man. Guys, before I begin, I'm not going to give you any medical advice today or make any medical claims, but I want to show you guys this because I think it's extremely important. What is actually making you sick? People are constantly talking about all these different diets and all these different things. And I think in the end, no matter what you eat, this is going to show you how this is potentially what's making you sick. Now check it out. Scientists found these toxins in meat and fish. Here's what you need to know. Endotoxins, guys. Now this is where it gets real crazy. Endotoxins basically appear to create a constant immune response, which creates internal inflammation that causes disease like diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and maybe even cancer. I think this is where people, no matter what they eat, this is going to be the fundamental issue of what potentially could be causing some illness. And let me go into this. Like, for example, this study attempted to determine the effects of big meal with high fat, content, obviously, on endotoxin loads in diabetic people. Now, this goes for all people, but they especially noticed that it was affecting diabetics even more. High fat intake leads to acute postprandial exposure to circulating endotoxin in type 2 diabetic patients. Basically, what they discovered was a very high amount of endotoxins circulating in the blood when you eat specific foods, but especially when you're diabetic. So this is not just for people who are diabetic. This goes for everybody, but definitely worse for people because people who are diabetic basically are what they call metabolically challenged because their metabolism and the way that they assimilate the food. So let's keep going because this study, obviously, they tested 54 people, including diabetics and some non-diabetics, and it appears to affect even people who are pre-diabetic. And the inflammatory risk is really the big issue here, and the circulating endotoxins. And this is also supported by the feeding patterns. So this is literally what I suggest was very opposite to what they were doing that was showing negative effects, which is the researchers were especially concerned when they advise diabetics to eat frequent meals. I personally never say that or nor do that. What I do is I have a meal and then I just stop. Let your body run empty. That's what I personally do. And they're finding that these frequent meals don't appear to be good. So they're probably going to see this new data is going to probably change the way that we do things, but it takes time for these things to be implemented later in the medical establishment. And obviously the liver is primarily responsible for processing endotoxins. I'm going to show you something, so stay tuned, about what can be helpful for that also. But let me show you what really is causing this type of issue. You can see that they had 70% higher levels of endotoxins in people who are diabetic or pre-diabetic. This is a circulating amount of endotoxins in the blood. But where are these really coming from? And let's go into the foods that are really, really causing these issues. First of all, the foods that are really a major issues right here. Foods that are high in endotoxins include ground meat, whether it's cooked or not, it literally doesn't matter. Aged meat, such as lamb, any kind of sausage, ham, bologna, prepared meats, including bacon. The biggest thing is extremely fresh food. This is the huge part. Depending on, again, no matter what foods you're eating, extremely fresh are going to make a huge difference. The ones that appear to have low endotoxin levels, obviously fruits and vegetables primarily. But here's the big thing right here. Beware of leftovers. This one was a huge one for me. I've seen it in ancient cultures and writings, but I've never seen any science to support it. Now there is. Any food that has been left over in the refrigerator is going to be high in endotoxins, guys. So this is a good argument for not eating leftovers because of the way it can compromise our immune system. But especially meat, poultry, or seafood. These foods are especially high. Even if you cook them again, they continue to accumulate endotoxins. Now, it is already, that there's already has, let's see, so some of these foods, again, the seafood, the fish, the poultry, the meat, they already are high in endotoxins, which cooking does not destroy. So they're already high, but check this out too, for people who think that they're eating healthy sometimes. So, and again, extremely fresh food is part of this whole thing, but look at this. And we know that it's difficult to get really, really fresh meat, really, really fresh fish. I mean, I know that these things are literally close to impossible, but check this out. Canned tuna, so fish in a can, so canned tuna or other types of fish in cans, sardines, are extremely high in endotoxins. I don't think these things are doing you any favor. Seafood especially will be high in endotoxins, and they will not be destroyed in canning or the cooking process. And there's a lot of citations here, but I think the important thing is what you don't understand is that these things are going to affect your immune system, and your immune system is going to be under constantly battling something when you're bringing this in, and it kind of weakens you and you don't notice it. But let me show you something that's even more amazing. How do we fight it? Here we go. Hydrogen. Hydrogen attenuates endotoxin-induced lung injury. Blah, blah, blah. So the point that I'm trying to get at is it appears that hydrogen helps with endotoxins. I had a suspicion about it. Now, this is from PubMed, from NIH, the National Library of Medicine. So it really does appear, as I've told you guys many times, hydrogen is extremely protective. It's one of the reasons that I even inhale it while I'm eating, to protect me as much as possible, and I eat as fresh as foods as possible. So I hope this information really helps you guys. A lot of people do not know. So no matter what you eat, it's important to have it extremely fresh. And this obviously shows that probably limiting meat, fish, these type of things, or having them as fresh as possible. And if you just can't have them fresh, well, then that's going to be an issue. But I hope this helps you figure out what might potentially be causing you guys harm. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, support the channel, subscribe. It's all free and it helps support the algorithm and the channel. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the next one.